I mean, mints now. I mean, in terms of mints, why should global investors take notice of mint countries? Bottom line.
Let me say in answering you, I really regret this part of the BRIC thing. I never said that people should start off BRIC investment funds.
Right.
And so...
But Goldman has one.
Goldman, do they still have... I often tease the people that did it. It took them 5 years to do it.
Right.
And they were late. There were
Okay.
a couple of... It was so funny, this is when I was a research guy, I'd have people from all these other big European retail funds saying, can they use our research to brand their BRIC funds? And we're the almighty... I'm like, well, hang on a minute, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then, because these things seem to do well, Goldman did eventually have one.
Okay.
But I think it's a bigger economic... the mints and BRIC thing are a bigger economic concept than an investment fund.
Right.
But I do think things involving the consumer in the BRIC and mint countries are the most important global investments of our generation.
Okay.
Whether they are all right to invest in at the same time or not is a completely different matter.
So what does the mint business community need to do to really unlock this opportunity, to translate it and drive it, or at least be a knowledgeable actor?
Well, judging by the inquiry and phone calls and emails I get since I launched this thing, quite a lot of them are trying to do quite a lot. But again, to be a little bit repetitive, do the right thing. Okay. There's a real danger related to this over-promise and under-deliver.
Right.
There's no point having a load of hype about being part of it. And the BRICS countries have made a mistake.
Sure.
They had big hype about all this BRICS Development Bank 2 years ago nearly. What have they done?
It's a communication exercise in many respects, as you say. I mean, to manage the expectations.
Well, communications, from my experience, is all about content, ultimately. You can say whatever you want, and it might sound good, and you get great sound bites, but unless the content is sustainable, you're going to set yourself up for problems.
So that's your advice to the presidents and mints, how to get it right.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. And if there was one indicator that analysts came to you today and basically says, what would symbolize success of the mint concept in your view and its global influence as a block, what would your response be? Analysts sitting there.
One thing.
The most important thing.
Goodness me. Probably in the long term, education. Because at the end of the day, economic growth is about the number of people that work and their productivity. And the key to productivity is education.
Right.
And if people in Africa and the other mint countries cannot get the most basic of education, it's always going to be the potential that never materializes. So initiatives that are really trying to change the dial about education, that's what gets me excited. What the next quarter's GDP is, I don't care about that kind of stuff.
I mean, that's similar to what Jeff Immett was basically saying, that he's a big believer, GE's a big believer in SMEs as the sort of wealth creators, the job creators. But he was basically saying that until you can invest in educating that and building that entrepreneurial class, you're probably going to miss it.
Well, I predict you the next 2 or 3 years, some of the most creative people in Africa, including some of them well known here in Nigeria, are going to start doing that.
Fantastic.
Because they realise the importance of it.
In terms of
I often call it enlightened self-interest.
Right.
And I actually met one of them today to discuss it, and it was fantastic to hear.
Okay, superb.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.